open notes, maybe I would have like taken better notes. Maybe I would have actually written down the things that Hudson said, write this down. Maybe I would have used a highlighter or some colored pencils or, some different strategies like that for when we're taking notes. So I want you to try to take better notes this chapter. Again, if you didn't get it, the problem 6 through 10, it's the back of your white sheet. So when I look out, I should see a bunch of dots on your white sheet, not the math problems that are on the back. Right? So we're doing the front together. I shouldn't see you on the back unless you've already done what we're currently doing. If you do not use all of your graph paper today, like you don't use the whole thing, I want you to continue using it tomorrow. So clip it in and then save it, and tomorrow you'll draw a squiggly line across, and we will continue. So, has anyone, I took my headphone now. Has anyone ever made, and maybe, I don't know if these things are so popular or anything anymore, anyone ever made like a model car, a model rocket, a model train, or like gone somewhere and seen like model trains? Like Easton has a model train set. Have you ever heard, and who watches Big Bang Theory? Yeah, so Sheldon is super into model trains, and he talks about what gauge they are. There's like H gauge and O gauge, and all these different gauges. Anyone know what that's talking about?
No. The type of engine?
Not really, actually. So today's notes, we headed the chapter, right? That chapter 4 is proportions and expressions. Today's header is similar figures. So I will write it out again as you write it on your page. This is what we're talking about. And we're going to define this. So write this out, and then we're going to define it, so you might as well put a colon after it. Anyone have a guess on what it means for figures to be similar? Bella?
Really close in size and shape.
It actually doesn't have to be really close in size. Toby?
Maybe these two figures, they meet at a coffee shop and they're really connected, and then they grow up and they get married and have kids.
Toby. Come on. Math. And if you meet your wife in a coffee shop, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Make sure you get to know her really well.
Where did you meet your wife?
What if I tell you all circles, actually in high school if you want the honest answer, what if I tell you that all circles are similar figures?
Oh, they're all circles.
Yeah, they're all the same shape.
Similar figures. Right, you should already have this written on your paper with the whole words. Similar figures. Easiest way to define it. Same shape. Same exact shape. But different size. Same shape, but different size. So my friend Randy, who is a draftsman, draws the stuff the architects need drawn. He does not draw it at the actual size. That would be silly. You draw a building the actual size of the building. That would be silly. So when we go to those meetings talking about the construction project about to happen in the Phoenix, they put down on the table what's called a scale drawing. A scale drawing uses similar figures to represent something that you're looking at. So you probably want to write down on your notes also scale drawing or drawings. Has anyone maybe sick?
She was in art class. I saw her in the bathroom. Who? Mickey.
It's okay. Some people are going to be, if people miss the vision screening.
Is there board game club today?
No, Tuesdays, Thursdays. We're going to do it like that because that's when I don't have a group right after and I can clean up the board games. So, Karen's learning how to use the copy machine at school. So, she decides to enlarge this figure by 300%. So go ahead and all those dots on your paper, we're going to start drawing in there. So pick a color, colored pencil, and draw out with me. I would probably start like top, don't put this like in the middle of the dots. I would start somewhere at a corner. We're going to go 1, 2, diagonal 1, up 1, over 1, down 1, connect 2.
Wait, not in the corner?
So, like up in the corner, close. So it is 2 wide at the bottom, goes up by a diagonal, 1 tall at the top, 1 over, 1 down. And then connect.
Like this?
Nikki, pick 2 colors.
Any color.
Oh my god.
White. Purple. Or clear.
You get 4 of them.
Or
Did it wrong.
Just because I don't like having them.
a lot of.
So, I want you to try on your paper to draw what this would look like after an enlargement of 300%. So first you have to think, what does that mean? And then I would bump down on your dot paper, right, like below it, and start. And my advice, if you're going to drop down and draw the next one below it, start that point like that's the first thing you draw, right? So I would start by like drawing that top left point and then go out because this part should come up here somewhere, I'm guessing. So try and draw that enlarged by 300%.
Why did you just take
We'll
all the
fix
sides
it.
and multiply it by?
So wait, Araya has an idea. Araya.
You take all the sides and you just multiply it by 30, I think.
Ooh, 30?
Would it be 300?
What is, right on your paper, 300%? What is 300% equal to, Zach? 3. It's on your, whatever, whichever. So 300% means triple your shape.
I did it.
So instead of 1, we'll have 1, 2, 3. Instead of 2 on the bottom, we'll have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Instead of a 1 diagonal, we'll have a 3 diagonal. 1, 2, 3. Instead of a 1 up here, 3 up, boom, boom, boom. Instead of a 1 over, 3 over, boom, boom, boom. Instead of a 1 down, we go 3 down, boom, boom, boom. And instead of a 2 connection, we have a 6 connection. Boom, boom, boom.
Wait, so 3 and then...
Everything should be tripled. All aspects of the shape should be tripled. The left side, the right side, the diagonal part, the top part.
But that's 1. Wait, that's
What, the diagonal or what?
I'm talking about like this side. Like
What, this?
Wow.
no.
This.
At the no.
This?
No.
This.
No. Like
This?
Yeah.
That was 1.
Okay. And then
Now it's 3.
this was 2, so then you triple it to 6.
It's 6 now. This was 1 diagonal, so now it's 3 diagonal. This was 1, now it's 3. Label that if you need to. And then I want you to draw an arrow connecting the original one to the new one. It does not need to be a third color. You can even just use your pencil if you want. And write SF 3. SF is how we are going to abbreviate not similar figures, which you might think, but it's how we are going to abbreviate scale factor. So you probably want to write down these words too, since we haven't written them down yet. Scale factor. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you go up diagonal 3. Yeah, you're not big enough. You started too high. So I told you to drop that point down here. That's what happens when you don't listen. See what Nick did? Dropped it down. It's okay. You could just draw a new one.
I just did it in a different
Accidentally drew them in the same color.
Whatever. It's okay. As long as you're drawing, thinking with me, and your brain's turned on. Scale factor is also. Is this cut apart? It is not.
Do we write scale factor on our like graphy paper?
Or your
Non-graphy paper.
or your non-graphy paper. Scale factor. If you drop down below all your dots. Scale factor is also known as our multiplier. And we figure it out by doing the copy over the original. Sorry, that's an I that just connected. We do the copy divided by the original. So here, any part of the copy that we grab, say we do 3 compared to 1, or 6 compared to 2, or 3 compared to 1, or 6 compared to 2, or it's always, when we do the division, it's always going to come out to be 3. Does that make sense? If we compare a piece of the copy to the original. Now, do not think copy means clone. Right? Clone would be like same size. If somebody clones you, you're probably coming out the same size. A copy, we can change the size of. Are we good with that scale factor? We're going to come back to it. So, go ahead and bump down further on your paper. I would probably avoid the hole punch, so I would bump in from the hole punch, just one. Draw this shape on your dot paper. So this, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 2, 2. I feel like I'm dancing.
Yeah, ha, 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 ha. What? I don't get it.
No get it.
No get it.
You never get the joke.
2, 2. Oh.
I don't get it.
That was
2, 2.
Or is
So
it about those like dancing skirts or whatever?
Not funny. Why do you gotta be mean to me?
Oh my. Meredith is not funny. Meredith's a bully.
Tell me about it. A lot of you guys are.
Mr. Hudson, I brought you a tiny plastic baby this morning.
That doesn't
Not
really.
You're still a bully, Mary. Did you take your heart pill?
I did, thank you.
You're so very
The
welcome.
baby is giving you good luck for your heart.
Baby shark.
Oh God, no, please stop.
Baby shark doo doo.
You guys are all Why do you guys hate that song? I have to listen to it every day. I literally don't get it.
Alright, so if you're able to read, which I think most of us are,
Toby's not.
our new scale factor is going to be 50%. Does everyone have this drawn?
No.
You should. I don't know what you're doing if you
Oh,
don't.
I messed it up.
Try to sketch a new one of these after utilizing a scale factor of 50%.
So half of it basically?
Yep. So 4, 2. There's a bunch of 4s and 2s.
I regret that. Excuse me?
There's not enough room.
That wasn't even
This is the original.
Oh. Well then.
What is 0.5 times?
Ah, so 50% is 0.5, or it's a half. So our 4 is now just going to be 2. Our 2 is going to be 1, and every 2 is 1.
That's what I thought. I thought I was going crazy.
So now every 1 is just 0.5.
So everything that was...
Doesn't make sense.
What do you mean doesn't make sense?
What? I said doesn't make sense.
Everything that was a 4, and there was a 4 down here, is now a 2. Everything that was a 2, even the 2 diagonal, is now a 1. Because everything is scaled
It's a lot tiny.
by half.
It's so cute. How do you call a shape cute?
If it's under 90 degrees, it's a cube. It's okay. Math jokes. Whoa.
It's a fun thing.
Not always.
Now, I don't really care if your drawings end up on top of each other. Draw this shape and choose a scale factor.
We choose.
Do you want to make it bigger? Do you want to make it smaller? Do you want to do the one inside the other one? Draw this shape. I should not be fighting for you to hear me. Draw this shape. Choose a scale factor. 1 to make it bigger and 1 to make it smaller.
Can you label it numbers? Wait, what?
Huh? Yes, I will also
Do you
label
have to
it.
make one bigger and one smaller?
Yep, one bigger, one
Yeah.
smaller. So this starts with
So
1, 2,
we
3,
should
4, 5,
have 3
6.
figures?
Yes, ma'am.
Aww. Wait, we get to choose how big it is?
And this diagonal is funky.
Yes.
Okay, we can't really label its length,
Why?
so you're just gonna have to connect it once you draw everything else.
So,
Not even fair.
how are we supposed to, like, multiply and, like, divide it and, like, wow.
That's why I'm having you do this.
How sad.
6, 3, 3, 1, and then connect it.
Can we just write X?
What do you mean? As the scale factor? I don't know what you mean. Can you just write X?
Not, like, as the answer, but, like, for explanation part, since you don't know what
Oh,
it is.
sure, but you don't even have to label it anything.
Oh, okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Should have terrible
Oh my god, how loud are you?
Dave, do you need a handwritten in your table?
You're so weird.
What?
I like trying to.
Have you had its paper?
There is something
Yeah, can you
wrong.
put me on that list, please? It's kind of exhausting and I have to work with it.
No, you don't. You don't have to work with it. No, you
What's
didn't.
2.5
What you
by
should have done was inform your teacher, hey, one of my classmates left an X back here. Can you clean it up? No, you didn't. No, you should have told him, hey, go get a Clorox wipe.
Yeah, literally,
Yes, you are.
you're in the
I
wrong.
don't care about that.
Yeah, we're gonna drink it.
Do not touch. You are allowed to use Clorox wipes. There you go, sir. I'll add it to your bill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They always swirl them.
So when I look at these values, I should use random cards at least once today. When I look at these values, I'm a leaky tire. I'm a babbling brook. Hey, you owe me homework, by the way.
My card.
Oh, wow.
I haven't got to finish them today. I haven't finished, and I know that's my card.
Meredith,
No!
when we look at the numbers we're dealing with, what would be nice to divide them by?
2 maybe?
Does 3 divide by 2 nicely?
But
No.
Well,
No.
What do 6 and 3 both divide by nicely?
3.
3. If we use a scale factor of 1/3. Hey, if you did not make this choice, go back and make this choice because it's easier this way.
Okay.
A scale factor of 1/3 takes my 6 and makes it 2. Takes my 3 and makes it 1. Takes my 3 and makes it 1. Takes my, ooh, the top part's the only difficult one. What should the top be?
30.33.
1/3, right? So we have to come over just 1/3 and then connect down.
That's pretty small.
What are we looking for? What did I forget to give you?
There's a few extra homework papers.
Estes had them because we handed them out through that block. If you ask one of the kids in that block, they might know what he did with them.
What?
They might just be on his
What?
desk.
I might handle.
No, extra homework from.
Oh.
Now,
How is that cute?
Lydia, welcome back. You want to tell us what you multiplied by?
Oh my god, it's
Yo,
so cute.
gentlemen, stop. To make it bigger. 150% or 150 like the number? Okay, so I was about to say, whew, I don't have big enough dot paper. So 150% is going to multiply everything by 1.5, right? So 150%. So hold up, give me your eyes. Percent and scale factor are two different things. You can say enlarge the shape by 150%, but your scale factor is 1.5. It is the decimal number of the percent. Did we all hear that? So if I ask you on a, mastery that, we'll have another one soon, to tell me what the scale factor is, please don't tell me a percentage. Tell me the decimal value. So I multiply everything by 1.5. What's 6 turn into?
6 turn.
12.5.
No.
9, right? 1.5 sixes. So I'm just gonna come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Lydia probably realized I don't really want to double it because that's gonna get really big. So that's why she chose 1.5. 3, 1.5 times 1, 2, 3. Another half time 1.5. My other 3. So 4.5, right? Is 3 times 1.5. So now I go up 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. What does my 1 turn into? My original. Yeah, my original 1. Remember, we're starting here. This is our original. My original 1 turns into 1.5. Or if you doubled it, might have turned into 2. Something like that. And then these make the awkward connection. And that's why I told you to get a ruler. Questions? Now, if you're like me and struggle to draw straight lines, but would like your lines to look straighter, here is a tip of advice. The next time your parents are at the store, like Five Below or Target or Walmart or one of those places where you can find a cheap classroom ruler, buy one and break it so you have 2 of the holes in your binder, because if you have the whole ruler, it's too long and it messes with your binder. But if you want, does it? Well, it's not clipped, is it?
It is.
Ah, impressive. Either way, my advice is put a straight edge in your binder, but not mine. Right? Do not steal my rulers to do this, but have a straight edge in your binder so when we draw things on our homeworks, you can just straight line. Okay, that is my advice. Any questions on what we just did?
Actually, I have a half ruler.
It does stick out, but maybe your binder is... Oh, it's because your rings are on the back of the binder when a lot of rings are in the middle, and then it gets kind of...
I have this.
Mine,
I thought I had this.
I have a cool one.
Yo, I got the best ruler.
Yeah, I like the short fuse.
Forgot I had this.
Lily, what scale factor would get the same shape back. Like if I go to the copy machine to make copies for your homework, and I just printed off the printer and I want it to come out the same size, what's my scale factor?
100. 1.5.
No, like ignore. So we made it smaller, made it bigger, but how could I just get the same thing? What would I multiply by?
Oh.
What number can we multiply by and get the same thing we had? 1, right? Just 1. So a scale factor.
Wait, are you getting back to the original?
Yes. Not get back to, but like if we start with the original and multiply by 1, we get the original.
We do like no.
What?
Yeah, we'll
What's
talk. I want to
SF
get the
for?
original.
Scale factor.
Once it's
We talked about it on the last slide. So hey, give me your eyes. Give me your eyes. Ignore red, ignore green. If I start with this and I want to multiply by a scale factor to get the same shape back, I would use a scale factor of 1. Because when scale factor is 1, we get... Anyone know what it means when it's the same shape and the same size?
It's called
The root of the word is a root that means width.
a similar figurine.
It is similar, but it's more specific than that.
It is exact.
Perpendicular. A similar figure.
Nope.
A same. A copy. A congratulations. A congruent.
Please write that down.
What does it even say?
Congruent. Congruent. A congruent.
I see the word. Did you expect us to know that?
There's your no, but I was just curious if anyone did know it. If you did Khan Academy over the summer and stuff, you might.
Khan Academy over the summer?
I saw the prizes put out.
Dang.
Yo,
As Henry would say.
congruent
I did Khan Academy.
means same shape.
Me too.
I got a lot of people talking, and you're not going to know what's going on the mini mastery. Oh yeah, we very well might have a mini mastery, like I don't know, end of this week or at some point next week.
Yippee.
Yeah, well,
What's with you and the mastery?
my opinion on that is swayed by how well do we do during class, or how much should I make it like, hey, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, so here's a test. Learn from it.
So you do pop quizzes.
Oh, so you're not playing
No, I'll
gotcha
tell
still?
you that it's going to happen.
So you're still not playing gotcha?
No, because I tell you it's coming. And I'm telling you right now. If you're not paying attention, the things you're missing are going to be on a mastery, and you'll miss them.
That'll be your problem.
Can you give pop quizzes?
So, CPM, in doing its review preview technique, at some point you're going to see the word congruent. Congruent is, just like what Toby said, they are similar. Hey guys, I feel like this is like I'm struggling to get your attention and I don't know why. It's just a Wednesday. Sure, there was a full moon last night, but that's hokey. My dog got impacted by that. You don't need to be. Okay? Can I have 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Please.
Congruent means that they are similar. Same shape. But instead of different size, they're the same size. And that symbol that we use for congruent is an equals with a squiggly over it, which is different. I'm going to show you the other symbol, so you probably want to jot this down so you know the difference. That means similar and equal. Hey Toby, why aren't you writing this down when I've said twice? That means similar and equal. So if it was just similar, right? Back a couple slides ago, we wrote down about similar figures. Back a few slides ago. So if you go back here to similar figures, the symbol we use for that is just squiggly. Because they have different size. So we don't use the equals. That squiggly, and guys, this is different than this shape, which is approximately. That's not what we're talking about. This means similar. And then if you put an equals under it, it means congruent. Okay? This is totally different. It means approximately. Almost equal, right? Not quite equal. It's a little wavy. Questions on our notation? So, on your paper, you are missing this. There are open parentheses on your paper for you to fill in. To find, down at the bottom, to find a scale factor. Down at the bottom. Whoa.
Meg's very mean.
You guys are getting harsh.
Decapitator. Baby
Check every pair of corresponding sides. I want you and your partner, and I'm going to random card to get your feedback. Decide, is part A similar? Does every piece have the same scale factor? And is part B similar? Does every piece have the same scale factor? And if so, what is that scale factor? You have 3 minutes to do this. Go. Hey guys, solve the problem, then do whatever.
Basically, can I just say the answer? For A, they both make
Did you check every set of corresponding? Because you can't just check like 1 or 2, you got to check them all.
I know. Because 2.8 multiplied, like added together, 2 plus 2 is 4, and it's 16. Carry the 1, put down the 16.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, there you go. Math.
Yeah, there you go, math. I agree.
And then,
They're multiplying everything.
yeah.
Like over here.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
multiplying by 2.
36.
I already did math.
12. So,
Please make sure you had filled in copy over original.
Can you put my random card on top?
Nope. Morgan! What do you think about A? Are we similar? What is our scale factor? Hey. Yeah, if I compare 4 to 2, that's a multiplication of 2. And same with every other side I checked. Now this is probably the most difficult part. Remember that when we're working with decimals, you can momentarily ignore the decimal. What's 28 times 2? Well, as people over here were processing, break it. Do the 20, do the 8, and then put them together. Right? So it's 56. This all works out awesome. Eric is on something on the trip. Sarah, can't believe that you guys were near each other. Sarah, what about B? Did you guys get to that? Do you think what? Do you think it's divided by 2 or like a scale factor of 1/2? I agree for most of it. Callie?
So basically, what it is, it doesn't go into 19 evenly. That's what really taught us. We thought of that and we were like, yeah.
Every set, give me eyes up here. Every set up here works with a scale factor of 1/2, except when we look at the 30 and the 19. What should the 19 be to make this work? 15. Or what would the 30 need to be? 38, right? One of these is wrong. So please, on your paper, I would circle those or something and write like not similar.
wow, that's impressive.
Oh wow. Oh, that's really.
Oh my gosh.
Not sim. Yeah, I know, sorry. And you have the last 3-ish minutes to flip your paperwork on your homework. Rudolph specifically?
Yes.
Why Rudolph?
Because I like that song. It's a coming to
It's a coming of age song.
I hate those movies. Yes, he was a